Hi, I'm Emma, a 42-year-old widow. Today, I want to share a particularly painful memory from a day that was meant to be a solemn farewell. The sky was overcast, a blanket of gray mirroring the heavy hearts of those gathered to say their final goodbyes to Mark. The gentle rustle of leaves and the distant toll of a church bell added to the air of melancholy. Mark was my rock, my partner in every sense, and the thought of letting him go was tearing me apart. As we stood around his grave, the weight of sympathetic eyes from family and friends offered a small comfort in the face of such a profound loss. But beneath the shared grief, there was an undercurrent of tension, one that I would soon discover was orchestrated by Mark's brother, Tom. Tom had always envied the deep bond Mark and I shared. We weren't just married, we were best friends, partners in crime, and deeply in love. As he approached me, his tall figure cutting through the crowd, his steps were deliberate, and the whisper of his suit seemed out of place amidst the reverence of the moment. "Emma, you know Mark would have wanted his debts settled. That ring you're wearing could cover the cost of this funeral," Tom said, his voice low but insistent. I felt a surge of disbelief mixed with anger. "Are you seriously asking for my wedding ring now, here at his burial?" My voice was louder than I intended, drawing the attention of those around us. "It's what Mark would have wanted," Tom persisted, his eyes refusing to meet mine. "It's practical. You don't need that ring to remember him." "That ring is a symbol of our love, Tom, not a financial asset to be liquidated," I replied, my hand instinctively touching the cool metal. Memories flooded back, our wedding day, late-night talks, the way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't noticing. "Don't be so sentimental. Think of the family," Tom retorted, his voice rising. "You're being selfish, keeping it when it could settle all the costs." "How dare you?" I was shaking now, the rawness of my grief mingling with fury. "Mark was my husband, and you think his memory boils down to settling debts?" Our voices had drawn the attention of the entire crowd. I could feel their discomfort, their eyes darting between me and Tom. An aunt, trying to diffuse the situation, whispered, "This is not the time or the place," her hand reaching out to calm the storm between us. He started it. I shot back, my tears finally spilling over. "I won't dishonor Mark's memory by haggling over his possessions as if they were mere chattels." Tom's face hardened. He took a step back, realizing perhaps that he had crossed a line he couldn't easily retreat from. "This isn't over, Emma. We'll see about that ring," he hissed before turning away, leaving me by the grave, surrounded by a crowd that had just witnessed the first crack in what had seemed like a united family. The funeral ended, but the rift it exposed remained, a cold farewell to Mark overshadowed by the chilling confrontation. As I stood there, watching the casket lower, I felt more alone than ever, clutching the ring that now symbolized much more than our union. It had become a symbol of the battle I would have to fight, not just for Mark's memory, but for my dignity and rights as his widow. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever faced. The quiet of the house was deafening, a stark reminder of the loneliness that now defined my life. But the solitude wasn't just from losing Mark. It was also fueled by the whispers that Tom had begun spreading among family and friends. "Emma's holding onto that ring like a dragon with its gold," I overheard at the grocery store, words spoken in hushed tones, but loud enough to sting. "Doesn't care about anything but the money, that one." The accusations warped my grief into a mixture of anger and disbelief. How could Tom twist my mourning into something so petty? Amidst the turmoil, I found myself going through Mark's things, desperate for a way to feel closer to him. But as much as I sought solace in going through Mark's belongings, it was also a way to distract myself from the relentless gossip. One day, while sifting through a box of old letters and documents, I stumbled upon something unexpected. Evidence of Tom's precarious financial situation. Overdue bills, desperate letters to creditors, and hastily scribbled notes about borrowing money hinted at a growing desperation. What struck me most were the resentful comments Tom had scrawled in the margins, bitter thoughts about Mark's success, and how it should have been his. I recalled a particular afternoon from years ago, a memory that had seemed insignificant at the time. Mark had just been promoted at work, and Tom, unable to hide the bitterness in his voice, said, "You always get everything so easily. Must be nice not having to struggle for once." Mark, ever the peacemaker, had shrugged it off. "Come on, Tom. It's not like that. Let's just enjoy the day, huh?" That flashback haunted me now, revealing the depth of Tom's jealousy, something I had overlooked, dismissing it as mere sibling rivalry. Feeling overwhelmed, I called my sister Anne, my confidant in all things. As I explained my discoveries, her indignation grew. "This is just like Tom, always playing the victim when he's really the instigator," Anne said sharply. "You need to protect your reputation, Emma, and Mark's memory. Don't let Tom rewrite the story of your life with Mark." Her words bolstered me, and with each document and remembered conversation, I pieced together a clearer picture of the man Tom really was. This wasn't just about the ring or the funeral costs. It was about Tom's deep-seated envy and his attempts to claim what he hadn't earned. "You have to stand up to him, Emma," Anne urged. "Show everyone who he really is, for Mark's sake and your own." After hanging up the phone, a resolve settled over me. Anne was right. I couldn't let Tom's narrative take hold. It wasn't just about defending myself. It was about preserving the truth of what Mark and I had together. Armed with the newfound evidence and a plan to expose Tom's deceit, I knew what I had to do next. The battle lines were drawn, not just in defense of the tangible memories of Mark, but for the truth that deserved to see the light. As days turned into weeks, the tension within the family thickened like a fog, chilling and relentless. Tom's tactics escalated, his desperation palpable as he sensed control slipping through his fingers. The whispers about me grew louder, more insidious. At a family gathering meant to be about healing and remembrance, Tom seized his chance to strike again. "You know, Emma," he remarked loudly enough for everyone to hear, a glass of whiskey in his hand, "it's interesting how little we saw of you at the hospital towards the end. Makes one wonder where your priorities were when Mark needed you most." The room fell silent, the unspoken accusations hanging heavy in the air. I felt the stares, the doubt Tom was planting in their minds. My priority was always with Mark. I countered, my voice steady despite the turmoil, and sighed. "Unlike some people, I don't measure care with public displays but with real, constant support." Undeterred, Tom pressed on, his voice growing harsher. "If that's true, why cling to the valuables? Mark's watch, his car. Surely, if you loved him, you'd put his family first rather than hoarding everything for yourself." "I'm not hoarding anything, Tom. Those were gifts from Mark, tokens of our life together," I replied, my resolve hardening. "You're not concerned about his memory, you're concerned about what you can claim." His face twisted with anger as he took a step closer. "Give them here, Emma. It's what Mark would have wanted." "No," I said firmly. "I won't let you bully me into handing over pieces of my life with Mark just to satisfy your greed." The confrontation was the last straw for some family members. Murmurs of support for Tom echoed from his allies, while others whispered their doubts about his motives. The family was splitting down the middle, the fault lines drawn not just by blood but by belief and loyalty. After the gathering, with the sting of the confrontation still fresh, I retreated to my home, a plan forming in my mind. It was clear that simply defending myself from Tom's accusations wasn't enough. I needed to expose his manipulations for all to see. I gathered every piece of evidence I had: emails, financial statements, the notes I found, and testimonies from those who had seen Tom's darker side. I reached out to the family members who were still undecided, or who had expressed discomfort with Tom's actions. One by one, I shared my findings, not to sway them with sentiment, but with cold, hard facts. The more I revealed, the more allies I gained. Their shock at Tom's duplicity turned into support for my cause. Together, we planned a final meeting, a chance to lay everything bare, not just the whispers and rumors, but the undeniable truth. This wasn't just about a ring or the material remnants of a life shared with Mark. It was about integrity, truth, and protecting the legacy of a man who was loved by many but manipulated by one. With everything prepared, I was ready to confront Tom, not just as a grieving widow, but as a woman reclaiming her narrative from someone who had tried to rewrite it for his gain. In the weeks following the confrontation, the dust began to settle, and the family dynamics shifted irreversibly. Tom was left to face the harsh reality of his actions. His presence at family gatherings diminished until it was non-existent. The loss of trust and respect was palpable, a shadow that followed him even in his absence. During this time, I found myself walking a path of mixed emotions. There was sadness for the division Tom's greed had wrought upon our family, yet a profound relief surged through me. I had stood up not just for myself, but for Mark's legacy, protecting it from being tarnished by selfish desires. One crisp morning, I felt drawn to the cemetery where Mark was laid to rest. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of autumn leaves. I walked slowly between the rows of headstones, each step a reminder of the journey I had been on since Mark's passing. Reaching Mark's grave, I paused, feeling a deep sense of peace wash over me. The granite stone bore his name, a testament to the life he had lived and the people who loved him. I touched the wedding ring on my finger, its metal cool under my touch, a stark reminder of the love and commitment it represented. The ring was more than just a piece of jewelry, it was a symbol of our love, one that Tom had tried to degrade into a mere financial asset. Standing there, I spoke softly, a conversation meant only for Mark. We protected it, love, not just the ring, but everything we stood for. I miss you every day, but I know you'd be proud of how we handled things. The sun broke through the clouds, its rays like a warm embrace. I took comfort in knowing that despite the challenges, the essence of what Mark and I shared remained untainted. The love and integrity that defined our time together had prevailed. In the days that followed, I found solace in the company of friends and the family members who had stood by me. We shared meals, laughter, and memories, each moment a stitch mending the fabric of our bond. They were my support network, a reminder that even in the face of deceit and loss, a community of love and respect survives. Moving forward, I focused on healing and redefining my life in a way that honored Mark's memory. Whether through charity work that we had both been passionate about or simply living each day with the kindness and strength he had always admired, I was determined to ensure that his legacy continued in the actions and choices I made. As I navigated this new chapter, I realized that protecting Mark's memory was not just about confronting those who threatened it, but also about continuing to live in a way that reflected the best of what we had shared. In this journey of grief, resilience, and eventual peace, I found my path forward, guided by the love and lessons Mark had left behind. Now that our story has come to an end, I have a question for all of you. Do you believe families should always be forgiven, no matter the wrongdoing? Or are there actions that justify cutting ties? This story explored deep family conflicts and the tough decisions that come with them. What are your thoughts on this? Please share your opinions in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story and the discussion it sparked, don't forget to like this video.